Krista, I'll see you at 3, okay? Don't think I- Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Steph.
Hey Sean, how are you?
Not bad. What's up?
I just got a phone call from one of my clients. Unfortunately, a worker that she works with, who I've come into contact with, has been diagnosed with COVID. So I now need to go get tested and isolate until I get the results. I'm so sorry. I've just found out just then. I'm actually 5 minutes away from you.
Yeah, no, you're right. Go and do your thing.
I'm so sorry, Sean.
No, you don't have to apologize. It happened.
But I have no doubt I'm negative. I've got no symptoms at all. But let's say for next week. But if anything changes, I'll let you know.
Yeah, good luck with it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Okay.
See you.
Bye. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Testing 1, 2, testing. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Testing 1, 2, testing. Hey folks, welcome in. Few things updating ever since installing Windows again on this game PC with this time UEFI files correctly installed. So this is legacy bullshit. Get rid of that crap. That's what I was on all up to this time and I didn't know about it. I was sad. No one told me anything about it. Yeah, yeah. Big deal. Maybe. Not my surname. Change surname. Okay. Yeah. That's a change. But you gotta change. All right. If you want, I can call them. You want me to call them? Do you want me to call them? Gagan? Yeah. I can call Gagan. No, no, it's okay. Just keep going. Just the surname, yeah. I can tell you. Yeah, but do you know what to change it to? Yeah, I'll call him. I'll call him. Hi, good afternoon, Gagan. It's Sean from Elliott Avenue. How are you?
Good, man. How are you? One
Yeah.
second, man.
Alright. No, that's not my surname. That's what I'm ringing you about.
What's your surname is?
Batsalu. B-A-S.
Excellent.
Batsalu. B-A-T-S-A-L-O-O.
Yeah, gotcha.
S-A-L-O.
One day somebody sent me a message. I don't have like this. I have it soon.
No, it's
I'll
not.
fix it up for you. No worries. How's
Okay.
everything?
Yeah, good. The cleaners are here now. Yeah, they've been. Yes.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, fix up. Hey, launching Destiny 2. Test. Oh, turn that off. Uh. Yo, PJ, didn't even hear the announcement. What the heck's going on? Let me test something. Mic is pretty high in volume and distorting. Oh, sorry. How about now? Test. Testing. Is that better? Testing. Test. How's that? Is that better? Volume sounds better. Okay.
Hey guys, Troy and Adrian here to introduce to you the biggest giveaway ever. Introducing our $1.3 million Gold Coast property. But if Gold Coast isn't your thing, I'll deposit $1 million cash straight into your bank account tax free. So So guys, let that sink in. $1 million going into your bank account tax-free, or a beautiful $1.3 million home on the Gold Coast. But you've only got a few weeks to enter. Grab yourself a package and this could potentially change your life forever. Good luck.
Something seems off the sensitivity maybe. My mic or
So there you have it guys, this beautiful home could be yours, but time is ticking. Grab yourself a package and tune into the live draw. If it's your numbers we pull out of the barrels, you've got a very important decision to make. You're going to choose the house or the cash. Good luck.
Now I'm invisible. I'm coming.
Phone charging slowly? This is the fastest phone charger on the market. This revolutionary charger is taking the world by storm. It can charge 4 devices in under 15 minutes. The best thing?
it's an
It's so
ad.
simple to use that anyone can do it. You don't need different sockets to make sure all your devices are fully charged. It was created by a mobile engineer who used to work for a leading smartphone brand. That's where he discovered a dirty secret. Smartphone companies are deliberately using cheap chargers. It's a common trick. They provide cheap chargers with their phones, so they can sell you an exclusive charger later. These cheap chargers can even damage the batteries, so they don't hold a charge anymore, making you buy a new smartphone out of frustration. This smartphone engineer was disgusted by this money-grabbing policy and decided to quit his job. He started a new company with some colleagues and looked for a way to quickly and safely charge phones and other devices. After a good few months of development and thousands of beta tests, the QuickCharge Pro was born. The combination of innovative gallium nitride technology and advanced USB engineering allowed this small
that, isn't that
device to
better?
drastically increase
Okay.
your charging speed. It can charge 4 devices at the same time in 15 minutes. This means you'll only need to use one socket to charge all your different devices. You don't need any technical knowledge to use it, just plug in a socket and connect to a device. And it will automatically know what voltage to use and start charging. The idea behind this device is quite brilliant. Without getting too much into detail, the QuickCharge Pro works by using a smart chip, which makes it impossible for your device to be overcharged or overheat while charging. At the same time, it detects what voltage to use, so it won't damage your device's battery. Here's the QuickCharge Pro in action. This speed test shows how quickly it can charge your smartphone. Here we're unboxing and plugging in the QuickCharge Pro. It works right out of the box. No setup or linking required. It even comes with a 3.0 quick charging cable. With this safe charger, you don't need to fear overheating or fire hazards. Best of all, you can plug in 4 devices at the same time. The creator of QuickCharge Pro wants as many people as possible to know about this new technology. They did everything to keep the price as low as possible, so everyone can enjoy the QuickCharge Pro. If you're interested in the QuickCharge Pro, or if you want to surprise someone with this unique gift, click on your uniquely generated link below to get 50% off your purchase. The founder is so confident in the QuickCharge Pro that he's offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So if you don't like it, you can get a full refund within 30 days. I don't need to tell you that this is an amazing deal, and it might be taken down anytime, so the time to act is now. My honest advice, grab yours before this offer is pulled
This might
or
be
the price
better
is
now.
raised. Click
Might
on the
be
link
a
on this
little
video
loud
to visit
for
the
your
official
mic,
website
so it's
and
still-
order with
mic's still
50%
loud.
off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Test, 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 test. Is the mic still loud?
What's up, guys? It's your boy Damone, and welcome back to to another New World video. Today we're going to be talking about getting weapon XP super duper fast. Alright, I know a lot of you guys are out there like, man, how do I level my weapons up faster? Because for those of you guys who might not have realized, leveling up your weapon or getting weapon XP or getting the extra skills in your weapon can make a huge difference in terms of speed of progression and or ease of progression. So leveling those up quickly can be a blessing, not a curse. Alright, so we're going to talk about how you guys can do that today. I want to break down some of our favorite areas to farm as a guild or as a party or even solo to get weapon XP pretty quickly for your weapons. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Now the biggest thing, guys, is when we get to the map, I'm just going to say it up front. The two methods that I found for the fastest weapon XP, we're not going to talk about PvP because it's so hit or miss depending on the person that you killed. You know, if they were flagged for a long time, you get a crap ton of weapon XP. If they weren't, you get nothing. So when we look at this, the two ways that I found is AoE farming, whether solo, like if you're running like Fire Staff or whatever AoE setup you guys have. One of my favorite spots to AoE farm, and this is one of the ways that I tested this, and that was in Monarch's Bluff. Cutlass Keys in the Salty Marshes. Like here in the marshes, I was testing pulling a bunch of mobs, seeing what the XP was, and it was great, especially for 28 to 35. It was good, but early game you can apply this too if you're pulling tons of mobs and you're AoE farming for a solo build. For the most part, though, you're going to want to try to find people to play with, and you're going to be trying to tackle these elite zones. These elite zones, hands down, are the best, all right, minus a couple of them, which we'll talk about here in a second. The moment you guys get to level 20, you guys can start, you know, really knocking out your weapon XP to the point where if you wanted to try out multiple weapons, you can level each of your weapons to like 13 or 14 here in Dead Man's Cove. If you have a consistent group, it goes really, really fast. Now, if you guys are already past level 20, and you guys are looking for other elite zones to farm, unfortunately, the next two up are pretty bad. Alright, so from 20 to 25, I would definitely take advantage of that cave hell, even 20 to 35, I would say. But then after that, you guys will end up heading to Brightwood, and then Brightwood, the elite zone here is not that great because the mob density is kind of, you know, to say the least. And then there's another one here in, once you get to 40, in Weaver's Fen, that's also kind of... Alright, and I'm just going to throw that out there. However, in terms of leveling up the rest of your weapons, let's say you guys are getting to 30 to 40, and then you get to 45. Once you guys get to Restless Shore, this elite zone right in this, I think it's either here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's here. This little spot right here, when you go through the mountains here and you get into this mountain pass, this area right here is great for elite zones. It's amazing. One of the best, I think, in the game. Other than my favorite one, which when you guys get to 50 plus is going to be at the top of this place right here in this harbor and in Morningdale. This place for XP is amazing. So if you guys have a level 50 group, 50 plus, like whether you guys are going in there with 10 people, 20 people, whatever, this place has a number of bosses. Legendary gear drops here as well. You have a chance to get some legendary jewels, I think, if I remember correctly, from the main boss. And then the XP rate was cool. We were testing it. We were getting about 1,000 XP an hour in closed beta. I don't know if it's adjusted since then, but in terms of XP and weapon XP value, like it's phenomenal. Okay, now there's some other elite zones that are mentionables, like the 62 elite zone in Eden Grove, and there's, you know, another elite zone up here in Great Cleave, and so on and so forth. But you know, we haven't really tested those too much pre 60. But pre 60, the zones that I'm telling you guys about is they're actually pretty nuts. So honestly, if you guys are looking to level up your weapons pretty quick, I would get a group together. Solid, you know, standard recommendation, obviously some kind of healer, some kind of tank with a Carnelian. Okay, if you can't manage to get a Carnelian, just get a couple healers together and grab as many people as you can can run these locations. The good thing about these open world dungeons, guys, is that you're not limited to just 5 people. So what that means is you can go inside these dungeons with your crew, and even if the XP is not the best, the weapon XP is still consistent, it's solid, and the drops are amazing. You'll get so much loot. Like,
sorry, I'll give you some audio in a minute.
That if you guys are struggling on potions, somebody asked me yesterday, D, how do you get potions? This is where I farm my potions. because once we get into these locations, they drop potions depending on what level they are. Like you can start getting the strong
big
potions
bar
here
on
in
the
Monarch's
Go
Bluff
XO, I
area.
mentioned
You
the
can
store,
farm,
the
definitely
big
get a ton
bar.
of them. You can
Which
use them for your
big
town
bar?
war quests, and then as you continue to go up in the zones, you'll continue to get stronger and stronger potions all the way up to the powerful potions and beyond, which can be very, very helpful in the higher tier town war quests as well, if you guys are not 60 yet. But the benefit of running these zones is insane. So if you guys haven't taken advantage of these spots, please, I beg of you guys, take an opportunity and go with your friends. Check it out if you don't believe me. And then when you see how crazy it is, especially if you guys can farm consistently, it's pretty nutty. So anyway, guys,
Let me check some settings for the mic. Hang on.
Information.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Let's set up your mic for the very first time. You head over to the System tab, click on Mic Setup. Now this will have popped up when you first ran the app, but in case you missed it and you didn't do that step, we'll just cover it now really quickly. Click on Mic Setup, and you basically just talk into your mic at a regular volume, and you want this to be in the good range. It can peak a little bit into loud, but you definitely don't want it to go all red. If you have a dynamic mic, like I have here, set it to dynamic. If you need phantom power because it's a condenser mic, simply click condenser and phantom power will come on for you. When you're finished this process, just click OK. Now we're going to go back to the mic tab because you haven't set any of the sounds that you're going to use in terms of equalization and compression, gating and de-essing for your microphone. It's really straightforward. All of these tabs start out in their basic mode, which means the equalizer gives you a control over bass and treble. So I've just adjusted mine a little bit here. I can make the bass go super heavy or thin it way out. I liked mine at -2, and I can do the same thing with treble here and bring it way up and get it too kind of shiny for me, or make it really muddy and dirty sounding. I'm going to set it to 2 here. If I want finer control over the equalizer, simply click the arrow and look, I have a whole graphic EQ that I can really get in there and snipe the frequencies that I want and adjust them how I need them. Then I can collapse it right back up. The same thing goes for the compressor. Now a compressor essentially compresses the dynamic range of your signal. It makes the lowest things a little bit louder and it makes the loudest things a little bit quieter so things sound more even. If you haven't used a compressor before, generally just slide the slider up and down, listen to the way it sounds with your voice, and you'll be able to find a setting that works for the way you are. I tend to like mine around 40 to 60%, somewhere in there, but you may like more or less. If you've worked with a compressor before, again, just slide it out and you've got all those common and known studio controls like threshold and ratio, attack and release, and makeup gain. The one danger zone control, I would say, is makeup gain right here. If you use too much makeup gain, you can distort your mic. Otherwise, we have protections in place that should make sure that your mic never distorts after you've set the mic gain in that first step on the System tab. With gate here, again, it's a one-click control. The gate will cut on and cut off when the sound level drops below a certain amount, basically creating silence instead of any kind of room noise. And that's great if you want to offset something like a fan noise that goes in your room. If you want deeper controls, you've got the threshold and the attack and release. Now, a de-esser is exactly what it sounds like, even though it's kind of a silly word. It removes S's. It goes in and targets S sounds that sometimes get a little bit over-accentuated depending on how you've EQ'd or compressed on your mic. So you can slide the de-esser up and down to get it so that S's sound nice and natural without getting too spiky and sort of harsh sounding. That's the end of the mic tab. All of these settings are something that are to personal taste, but we'll also do an in-depth video later on some of the basics of how to set EQ and compression for your own particular voice and good jumping off points. When using a mic like a Blue Yeti or any other USB mic that has a headphone output, and you're connecting it to the pink mic input on the back of Go XLR, you need to choose 3.5mm from the mic type. Now, this was added after the first release of Go XLR to make things more clear. We used to make it so that the XLR input would be muted if you had plugged something into the pink mic in jack, but that became confusing for people, and some people would think their XLR mic was broken. So we've actually added this menu item now. So you've got a dynamic mic, your SM7s of the world. You've got a condenser mic, your AT2020, and then you've got 3.5 millimeter for your headset or your Yeti or anything like that that's coming in. So make sure you choose that and then set your gain according to the rest of this video. Now, the cool thing about these is each one of them carries its own gain. So if you want to leave your headset plugged in and you set the gain and you make it work so that it's got the right level, and you want to also have a dynamic mic, you could just come back here and click back and forth between the mic types, and it's going to pull up the gain that you used last time, which is really great. So it makes it a little bit easier, and you'll never find yourself in a situation where you want to use your dynamic mic and it all looks like it's working and everything, but your 3.5 is plugged in and your XLR is not working. So hopefully that makes things easier for people going forward. Now, one other caveat that comes along with a wire that goes from a USB device into our device is that you could create a ground loop. And that just means that there's electrical potential difference, woohoo, fancy, between the two things, and it creates going on in your headphones or in the system in general. The solution to that is to purchase a ground loop isolator, or GLI. It's just a simple transistor, but it sits in the path of the signal to make sure that the ground noise gets removed. You want to put this at the end of the signal path. So your regular 3.5 millimeter cable comes into your Yeti's headphone output, okay? And then the other end of that cable will plug into the GLI, okay? And then that, it may have a removable end here, it may just have a fixed end depending on which one you get. This will now plug into the pink mic in jack in Go XLR. So that means that any noise that's created on the cable here between the mic and Go XLR gets removed as close as possible to the Go XLR itself so that that noise doesn't bug you. So you may need to pick one of these things up. They run about 10 bucks.
Into your actual line in on the streaming PC. So cable 1 is going line out on the back of the actual Go XLR and run your other end into the line in on your stream PC. Next is actually connecting the stream PC back into the Go XLR. And this is only really utilized for your stream alerts or other things of that nature that you're wanting sound coming from your stream PC and being able to use it in your single headset that's running off of the Go XLR. This is where you will take your other aux cable, run it out of your line out or speaker output on the back of your stream PC, and then you'll want to run your other end through the actual ground loop isolator. So you'll plug it just directly into the isolator, and then you'll plug the isolator into the line in on the back of the Go XLR Mini. All right, so we're about halfway done. We've set our microphones up and we've connected both PCs. Now you'll notice there's just a few ports left. First is the USB. That one's simple. You'll actually plug in the supplied USB cable from the Go XLR Mini into your gaming PC because, again, that's where we're going to be connecting this device from. Next to the USB port is the optical port for a console. If you use a PS4 or Xbox One and you're wanting to mainly stream console gaming or sometimes stream console gaming and you want the audio running through this, you'll supply an optical cable from your console to this device as long as your console has that port option. And then last thing but not least is your headset. Plug your headset from the actual headset port on your headset into the front that has the headset jack right beside the microphone jack that we referenced earlier if you were using a USB
The left
mic.
bar with the blue lights, they
now
make
we're going to dive right into it. All right, so now that we're loading into the actual Go XLR app, there's a few things we're going to go over. The first is your profiles. So if you actually look in the top left side over here, you'll see profiles. There's a few different options for colors. That's the main difference. If you had different settings you wanted for different games or when you're streaming versus recording or podcasting or whatever, you could make a different profile for those settings and it would preload them separately whenever you double click and select that profile. I chose one and I renamed it to main. The only other one that I actually use is typically sleep. If I know I'm not going to be using the Go XLR for a period of time, I will change it to the sleep mode. All the lights shut off. It kind of turns it off in a sleep mode. And I think it makes it last longer, hopefully. But other than that, I just use the one main profile. I'll configure that and we'll go through those configuration settings. But we set that up that one time and it pretty much covers all of my needs that I've had so far for it. Now that we have our profiles figured out, we want to move on down onto the next settings. The first of which is microphone. If you see the button on the very left, it's called mic setup. Let's click on that. Now under mic type, there's 3 variants that you can pick from. The biggest differentiation is either the XLR or the 3.5mm jack up front. As we mentioned, something like the Yeti, that's a USB mic, or any of those others, as long as you're using that 3.5mm adapter, you'll need to pick that option here.
Test. How's that sound? Test. Yeah, I had to restart the computer. How's it sound now? I'm not sure why this line keeps moving down. It's weird. Hang on, there's vacuuming going on here, so it might sound a bit noisy. That sounds better voice-wise, but you're more background noise now. Yeah. I gotta set this up. I gotta find the right video for it.
How to charge your phone faster than ever before with this ingenious new device. This 39 Australian dollars charger is taking the world by storm. It's the fastest charger on the market. It can charge 4 devices in under 15 minutes and it works for Android and Apple devices.
Test.
It works so well that big cell phone manufacturers wants this clever device banned for good. You don't need different sockets to make sure all your devices are fully charged. It was created by a mobile engineer who used to work for a leading smartphone brand. That's where he discovered a dirty secret. Smartphone companies are deliberately using cheap chargers. It's a common trick. They provide cheap chargers with their phones so they can sell you an exclusive charger later. These cheap chargers can even damage the batteries, so they don't hold a charge anymore, making you buy a new smartphone out of frustration. This smartphone engineer was disgusted by this money-grabbing attitude and decided to quit his job. He started a new company with some colleagues and looked for a way to quickly and safely charge phones and other devices. After over 10 months of development and research, Charge Boost was born. The combination of innovative gallium nitride technology and advanced USB engineering allowed this small device to drastically increase your charging speed.
I'll eventually find
I can charge
it,
4 devices at the same time.
Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about some of the advanced microphone settings that you have on your Go XLR Mini so that you can get the best sound possible. I've done this for the Go XLR already, and a lot of people asked for me to do one for the Mini, so that's what we're doing. I'm going to jump straight into it, explain how this all works, and we'll go from there. So first, let's go ahead and go into the mic setup tab.
what we're going to do is make sure that you've got your gain set correctly. So we've done a really good job at giving you this good range here to kind of let you know, hey, this is where you want to see your mic to make sure that you've got a good signal. However, not all mics sound best right here. This is really just a suggestion. If you've got a lot of room noise, you may want to run your gain a little bit lower so that you're at the high end of low, low end of good. For example, I'm running a Electro Voice RE20, and you'll notice that I'm largely kind of right here in the top end of the low range. I can boost this up to 43 decibels or whatever and get in that good range, or even a little bit higher, 44, 45. But hear how much more background noise you hear? That is why I don't always recommend. That's why I don't always recommend having your gain just in that good range. There's other ways to address it, get it the right volume, without necessarily amplifying your microphone to pick up more things and be more sensitive. So kind of play around with that and find the range that you think sounds the best, where it's like, yes, I'm loud, yes, I'm clear, but my background noise isn't overpowering. There are some tonal advantages to running your gain higher, but usually, unless you've got a really well-treated room, your PC fans are quiet under your desk, it's usually better to run your gain just a little bit lower, especially considering this is all going to go out on the internet, and it's going to get compressed anyway. So I'm going to drop back down here to that 36 decibels I was using before. And let's start talking about the gate, equalizer, and compressor. You'll notice that I have the gate off here, so make sure that you leave the gate off while you're setting all of this up. It's going to help you hear your voice a little bit better, and it's also going to help you hear your background noise a little bit better as well. I also start with no compression either, so I have the threshold set to 0 dB. That's going to make it so nothing is getting compressed unless I'm clipping, so it's essentially nothing.
This platform is helping Australians from all backgrounds. Musk was a guest on TV and shared information about his newest project that nobody
So the first thing is going through the equalizer then. We set up a 6-band equalizer for you, which is quite a few bands if we're being real. Most like soundboards, especially in the Go XLR price range, come with a EQ that's usually bass treble or bass mid treble, kind of like our simple mode. But in advanced mode, we give you 6. We give you 2 bass frequencies, 4 mid frequencies, and a high frequency. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how the best way to kind of dial in each frequency for your voice. And how you do that is pretty simple. What you're going to do is you're going to start on the far left, so 90 hertz. You're just going to start talking. You're just going to keep talking, doing whatever you need to do, and you're going to kind of listen to your voice change as it goes up and down. You'll notice at positive 9, I have this very full, bassy subtone to my voice. Whereas if I go to negative 9, I lose all kind of the presence down in the low parts, the rumbly parts of my voice. It's almost like my diaphragm noises. So I like to boost myself a little bit more, and I kind of like how I sound right in like positive 2, positive 3. I like a little bit more synthesized vocal for myself. If you want something more natural, just keep it more towards the middle. Always think of it this way. Any way I tell you to go towards the middle if you want something a little bit more natural than what I'm setting up for you here. Next up is the 160 hertz. This is going to be the fullness of the bass. So if I go all the way up to 160 hertz and I go to positive 9 dB, obviously I'm very big and full and bassy, but I'm also really muddy. If I go to negative 9, I kind of sound like I'm using a headset microphone, right? And we're back here at 0. So I just scroll up a little bit and kind of finding that bassy tone that I like. Kind of probably right in here between the 2 and 3 range. We're going to keep it 3. We might come back and analyze this frequency later after I've done the highs. The 480 frequency is kind of it's the separation frequency. What it's going to do is it's going to separate your lows from your highs. This is kind of like your key mid frequency. If I bring it all the way up to positive 9, it is very boxy, if you will. And if I bring it all the way down to negative 9, it sounds almost compressed on its own, and it almost sounds like I'm talking on like an FM radio station, but not the good kind, like you're kind of on a crappy radio. I like a little bit more processed dynamic vocal. So what I do is I usually drop the 480K or 480 hertz by 1 to 2, and that way I get kind of a little bit more of that broadcasty style vocal without overdoing it. Next up is the 1.5K hertz frequency. The 1.5K hertz frequency, if I pull it up to positive 9, I get it's nasally, the nya. I get all the nasalness of my voice. If I go to negative 9, well, now it sounds like you're listening to something underwater. And we're back here to 0. I usually boost this just a little bit. It kind of depends, though, on what you're like listening to. But for me, I have a little bit of a nasalier voice, so I don't boost it too much, but I'll boost it a little bit. And then the 4.5K hertz. This is like the highest part of your voice. See, so as we did that, we really opened up the width of my voice by raising up the 4.5K hertz all the way up. That was way too strong. Sa. It sounds just kind of overpowering. And then at the negative 9 frequency, it's way too muddy. So somewhere in, like, I like kind of right around here is what sounds good for my voice, but your mileage may vary. Something you also notice, and this is why I recommend you keep the gate off, listen to how the background noise gets amplified as I change that frequency, right? That is the reason why you EQ with the gate off. So it's like, oh, I really like it here, but with the noise in my room, I can't boost it as far as I want, because it's going to boost that background noise and not get the sound I want as well. But this is kind of where I am. And lastly is the 7.8K hertz, and this is kind of, it's kind of like the high semitones of your voice, almost like the, I don't know how to really say it any differently, but if you bring it all the way up to 7.8K hertz, you can hear it's very, very high and very harsh. There's a lot of presence. I can almost like breathe on it, and it will sound kind of weird. Whereas if I bring it all the way down here, I kind of get back into that boxiness kind of sound. What I find is right now it's really full on the low end, but it's just lacking a little bit of high presence. So I'm going to raise it up a little bit and see if I can find right where I think sounds the best. And I think it's probably right around here is where I think it sounds the best. So that's how we go ahead and we run the equalizer. Now, there is something that's kind of interesting. So, I don't have super harsh S's for my voice. It's overall pretty fine. But some of you might. You're like, John, my S's are way too strong. How do I fix that? What you'll do is if you enable fine tune, turn up the 4.5K frequency to positive 9, and go like this. Find where the S's are the most harsh. For me, it's at about 5K hertz. What I can do is I can bring that down just a little bit. It's obviously going to, just like a de-esser does, it's going to muddy up that high frequency a little bit, but it's going to get rid of those harsh S's as well. So this is a way, and you can kind of like cheat around with this. Maybe I'm like, you know what? I don't need that 1.5K hertz a whole lot. I'm just boosting it a little bit. So I'm going to cheat over to, like, let's say 2.3K hertz, and I'm going to boost that a little bit. That's going to help me still retain the highs in my voice without removing that kind of faux de-esser we just made right here. We'll go all the way up to 2.5K hertz. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we're finding. So we're kind of finding that right spot of where we can get enough of both. And we're just, kind of playing around a little bit with the frequencies of like, it's above my de-esser frequency, it's a little bit too high. Below my de-esser frequency, it's not high enough. And that's kind of what we're trying to find. So, for me, I don't really use a de-esser. So I'm going to kind of leave it a little bit more like this.
Okay.
For right now, anyways. So that's how we set up our equalizer. The next thing we're going to do is set up our compressor. So what a compressor is going to do is when your voice goes over a certain decibel level, it's going to compress your vocal at a certain ratio. It's relatively simple. So right now, I'm saying, hey, GoXLR Mini, when my voice goes above 0 decibels, reduce the loudness of each additional decibel by a ratio of 4:1. So what I find to do with this here is you don't have to get fancy with the compressor at all. I drop it down to about negative 15 decibels, keep the ratio at 4:1. It's a good kind of neutral ratio. If you want something a little bit, if you're a very dynamic speaker, or if you want something a little bit more synthesized, you might go up to like 8:1, and it'll give you a little bit more of that compressed vocal sound. If you want something a little bit more natural, you might go down to 2.5 or 2:1. But 4:1 is a great middle ground. And then lastly, what we want to do is we want to make sure that our loudness is set correctly. That's why I have OBS open on the bottom. Across the bottom, you can see my voice overall kind of peaks between, negative 20 and negative 15.
Test,
I want to be up by the negative
test.
10 range at my loudest, between negative 10 and negative 5. So on the compressor, we have this makeup gain. What I'm doing now is I'm pushing that makeup gain up so that I can get kind of right in the sweet spot. Which for me, I like about 5 dB. If you find that you're doing more than like 6 or 7 dBs of makeup gain, you might want to reconsider your original gain that you set. The last thing we're going to do is mess with the gate. The gate has 2 important facets to it: the threshold and the release. The threshold determines when the gate, or at what level the gate opens and what level the gate closes. What you typically want to do is raise it until your background noise goes away. For me, it's about 52 decibels, and it goes away completely. Now, important about the gate is you can still hear my wife washing dishes in the background, and you're not going to get rid of that with the gate at all. But that's kind of part of the doing your due diligence as a streamer and making sure that you're streaming in an environment that's appropriate for the microphone you're using. I'm normally not streaming when my wife is doing work in the background, and so I can leave this gate threshold a little bit lower. Whereas, if I didn't have that, I might raise it up a little bit higher, negative 47, negative 45, and that way you'll notice you can hear it kind of cutting out my voice a little bit because my gate threshold is too high. Something that if you have a really loud noise, you might notice like a fluttery helicopter or like a snare drum sound. What that means is that your threshold has been set right at it's too close to your noise, that the gate kind of gets confused and keeps opening and closing consistently. So what you want to do is keep the threshold at a point where you can type and you can click and not have it break through the gate. That's about all that you're really looking for and expecting. The other part is the release. So the release is going to do 2 different things. It's going to determine, it really does one thing. It determines how long after your voice or your sounds on your microphone go below this threshold, how long until that gate closes completely. Right now, I keep it at 200 milliseconds, which is like a really solid, it's a faster gate overall, but it's really great for loud and quiet environments. If you're in a really quiet environment, you can expand that release to even like 1,000 milliseconds, which is a full second. And you'll hear the gate close over a second. Just going to go shh. So like I said, I keep it around 200 milliseconds. You can have it faster if you're a faster speaker. Ultimately, though, if you notice that it's cutting off your words, your gate release is probably too fast. In a nutshell, that's all it takes to do an advanced walkthrough on your device. I'm already hearing again, like, oh, you know what? Since we've done this, my S's feel a little too strong. I'm going to
fish roll, risotto, buffalo, gelato, cheesecake, this steak, seafood bake, milkshake, Brussels sprout, sauerkraut, fresh cut trout,
just like my other video, the title of this one is also a little bit clickbaity. There is no such thing as the best blanket settings for your microphone when it comes to GoXLR, GoXLR Mini, or any other DAW or program or plugin that you're using. However, for so many streamers, this is the first time they've seen things like gates, compressors, and EQs. The good news is there are some blanket settings that, no matter what your voice or microphone is, can get you almost all the way there. I'm John Horstman, and today I'm going to show you how to sound great with the GoXLR Mini. Before we get started, my name is John Horstman. I also go by Kick Tripod, and I design technology for content creators and streamers, including the GoXLR Mini. If you do like this type of content, please do give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to get a notification when any new video goes live. Before we do anything, let's make sure that your settings match this screenshot. One of the most important things that you can do to get the best audio out of your microphone is to set the gain correctly. So when you open up the mic setup tab, in the mic tab of the GoXLR app, you're going to be prompted with a microphone type and a gain slider. Choose the microphone type that you have. If you have a dynamic mic, choose dynamic. If you have a condenser microphone or a microphone using a mic activator like a cloud lifter or a FET head, choose condenser. Otherwise, if you're using a USB microphone or a 3.5 millimeter microphone, choose 3.5 millimeter. When you're setting up your gain, I find that for most streamers, it's best to look and try to be in this low part of good or high part of low. This overall mic meter is set a little bit high. And for most streamers who have PC fans and box fans in the background, it's okay to run it a little bit quieter so your mic's a little bit less sensitive. Another important thing to notice here is that the closer you can get the microphone to your mouth, the better audio you're going to get and the less room noise you're going to pick up and reverb. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up the GoXLR Mini EQ. And here's what the GoXLR Mini EQ looks like. What I like to do is I like to overlay these labels to tell you what specifically each band does. That way, as you start to play with it yourself and set up your settings for yourself and deviate from what I show you today, you're going to know a little bit better what parts of your voice you're changing. We're going to start from left to right and change the settings of each of these individual bands. Bear in mind, your voice and your microphone are going to change how your voice sounds with these settings. If you want a full rundown on how to manipulate these settings, I have a 35-minute video that goes through each of these more in depth. First, let's start with the 90 hertz, and this is going to be most of your bass. If I put it all the way up to +9, I get really full. And if I bring it down to -9, I lose a lot of the bass in my voice. I like to set this at about a +2. 160 hertz is the really fullness and muddiness of your voice. I just turned it up to +9, and wow, does it sound muddy. But if I take it all the way out, it kind of sounds shallow. For this one, I actually keep at 0 or -1. I don't really want mud in my microphone. I'm going to keep this one at 0 because I think it sounds better for my voice. The 480 hertz frequency is my favorite frequency. This is your broadcast frequency. If I turn one of the most important things that you can do to get the best audio out of your microphone. This is the first time they've seen things like gates, compressors, and EQs. The good news is there are some blanket settings that, no matter what your voice or microphone is, can get you almost all the way there. I'm John Horstman, and today I'm going to show you how to sound great with the GoXLR Mini. Before we get started, my name is John Horstman. I also go by Kick Tripod, and I design technology for content creators and streamers, including the GoXLR Mini. If you do like this type of content, please do give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to get a notification when any new video goes live. Before we do anything, let's make sure that your settings match this screenshot.
Test, 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 test.
One of the most important things that you can do to get the best audio out of your microphone is to set the gain correctly. So when you open up the mic setup tab in the mic tab of the GoXLR app, you're going to be prompted with a microphone type and a gain slider. Choose the microphone type that you have. If you have a dynamic mic, choose dynamic. If you have a condenser microphone or a microphone using a mic activator like a cloud lifter or a FET head, choose condenser. Otherwise, if you're using a USB microphone or a 3.5 millimeter microphone, choose 3.5 millimeter. When you're setting up your gain, I find that for most streamers, it's best to look and try to be in this low part of good or high part of low. This overall mic meter is set a little bit high. And for most streamers who have PC fans and box fans in the background, it's okay to run it a little bit quieter so your mic's a little bit less sensitive. Another important thing to notice here is that the closer you can get the microphone to your mouth, the better audio you're going to get and the less room noise you're going to.
Should this tactical zoom lens be made illegal? This is the first reasonably priced
to pick up and reverb. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up the GoXLR Mini EQ. And here's what the GoXLR Mini EQ looks like. What I like to do is I like to overlay these labels to tell you what specifically and hopefully gets you up and streaming and creating content faster. That's also the hardest part of this video. Next, let's go to the compressor, and the compressor is really simple. I recommend a ratio of 4:1 and a threshold of about -17 to -20. If you are a louder person, I would set it to -20. If you're a quieter person, -17. The ratio of 4:1, I think, works great for everybody, but if you are a screamer, you're a rager, you're worried about your microphone peaking while you're speaking, you can bump that up to as high as 8:1, but it's going to make a lot more compressed vocal sounds, which you may or may not like. The last thing we want to do on the compressor is open up OBS and see where our voice is currently peaking. You want your voice to be peaking at the top of the yellow, low end of the red. And when I look at this right now, we're at about -15, which means that I'm going to need about 5 decibels of gain, makeup gain on the compressor to make up for that. So I'm going to do that right now. And there we're sitting much better at a much better broadcast volume than we were before. If you need to go much higher than like 6 or 7 dB on the makeup gain, you might want to go back to the mic setup and bump up your gain a few dBs. Last but not least is the gate, and the gate is also relatively easy, but this is the only part I can't do for you. You don't have to worry about the attenuation or the attack. Keep them at 100% in 10 milliseconds. Set the release to 200 milliseconds. I think that that's a really good neutral amount for spoken word. However, you'll notice right now you're hearing my background noise. You hear my PC fan in the background, maybe the air conditioner, and a little bit of the reverb. We want to get rid of that. So what you do is you start at off, you start with threshold at off, and you slowly raise it until your background noise goes away. I need to be quiet to do this, but let's do that now. So mine did it almost immediately at -4 decibels or 54 decibels. That's pretty normal for most people. I'm going to go ahead and click and type. That's coming through a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit more of a buffer. If you go any higher than -42, it means that you've got a real room noise problem and you need to look at solutions on how to fix that, whether that's with acoustic paneling, hiding your computer under your desk instead of on your desk, or figuring out what you can do to make your room colder without having a box fan in there. So there's one more trick I want to show you, and that has to do with the de-esser. The GoXLR Mini does not have a de-esser. There's not enough processing on the physical device to be able to do that. If you're really struggling with S's, there's 2 things you can do. First of all, speak into your microphone at like a 45-degree angle. If I go directly on and start speaking, see how much more pronounced my S's are? If I'm off to the side, my S's are still there, they're still present, but they are muted a little bit more. The second thing is this EQ trick. So what you'll do is you'll enable fine-tune EQ, and you'll go to the 4.5 kilohertz. And what you'll do is you'll slide it up to 5 kilohertz. And you'll notice my S's, if I put it all the way up to +9, my S's get really pronounced. And all the way down to -9, I have virtually no S's. What I can do here now is I can remove a little bit of my highs, but also where my S's live. And now what I've done is I've removed a lot of those S's. So when I speak directly into the microphone, it actually sounds quite good. This is a great way to have kind of a pseudo de-esser when you don't actually have a de-esser. And that's it. At this point, your microphone should sound really pretty good. As I've said before twice in the video, everyone's voice and microphone is different, so your settings aren't necessarily going to be perfect for everybody. But for most people, these are going to get you more than adequately there. If you want the best results, I recommend watching my longer video on this subject. Or what you can do is hop into my Discord, and we have a Sound Check Me channel, and in there, I will help you EQ your voice for free. Just show me what you've got, create a recording, and I'll help you. But the purpose of this video was to help you get the best sound for your microphone as quickly as
I've been coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in.
Here's the deal, streamers. We've been lied to. For the past 5 or so years, we've been told that you need a great mic to sound great when you broadcast online. It's just not true. You need a decent mic to sound great, and that's only 1/3 of the equation. The second third of the equation is your preamp and your DAC. Usually this comes in the form of one box.
Okay, let's hope this sounds better now. Test, test. What's it sound like? Test, test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Oh. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Holy shit. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. How does this sound? Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. How does this sound? Still sounds pretty loud. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. How does this sound? Still sounds pretty loud. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. How does this sound? I'll go at 19. Let's try that. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test, 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 test. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, 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 test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Testing, 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 test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Testing. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. That's a bit better.
This is Webflow. Meet the design tool from the future. The most powerful visual coding tool, coupled with the most intuitive visual CMS. This is Webflow. Meet the design tool from the future. Most powerful visual coding.
Sign, please.
Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Okay, I'm loud enough, I think.
What is the most optimal resilience that you should run in Destiny 2? Today we go down the path of answering that very question. For those unaware, resilience is your health, and intuitively you always want more health, right? But in a game like Destiny, where more of one stat means less of another, this has actually been a question for the ages. As you may know, we have resilience levels running from 0 all the way to 10, and Bungie has never actually come out and specifically stated how much health there is at every level. Only recently did they add that tooltip in the main menu on your character where it shows you the percentages from one to the next, but even that means people still had to try and figure out what the baselines were, right? Countless community folks over the years have spent hours and hours trying to nail down those exact amounts at every level. Now that's just been half of the equation, because the other half is once we do know, how much should we even run? Especially because this can often shift with whatever the meta currently is. I mean, the perfect example is the 120 hand cannons, right? Look on screen, you have one person living and one person dying to the 1 crit 2 body. The very premise of figuring out what's optimal is finding those fine lines like this example I just showed you, as well as balancing how much you want to use for your abilities. Well, today I'm going to share my story on all of these aspects, and first I want to talk about how I finally confirmed with high confidence what each level of resilience equals. Everyone has always known that tier 0 to tier 10 gave a window of health between, say, 184 and 201. Like I said earlier, Bungie added those percentage numbers in the tooltip, which definitely helped steer people in the right direction, but there still wasn't extreme confidence in what the numbers were. And when I was making my story of the Thorn video a while back, talking about the burn damage and how that's changed over the years, I got really sick and tired of not knowing exactly with confidence what these levels were, so that's the path I went down. You see, every once in a while, Bungie will include very specific numbers in their patch notes. For example, look here at the November 2020 update where they say adaptive auto rifles damage per bullet was reduced from 15.75
Ready up, gamer. Choose your character. Bring it on.
What the fuck? Henley, yo. I don't know what my mic sounds like at the moment, but it's probably all up the shit. Just woke up. What's it sound like, bro? Music is loud as fuck. Yeah, I turned it down. How's that? Is that better? Yeah, a lot better. Yeah, turn it down and feel like. How's the mic sound? Mic sound good? Mic testing, testing, test 1 2, test 1 2. Yeah, mic sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I got sounds from my headphones again. Sweet. Test, test, test. Okay, good. Everything's working here. I gotta give the PC a reboot, Henley. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, bud. Yeah, I have bud. How's my mic sound? Good still? Yeah, I have bud, bro. How's mic sound? Yep, still good. Or music level sound good? Still sounds loud as fuck. So my audio levels sound good. Can you hop on Discord for a minute? When you turn music to 100% volume, it's so loud it distorts the sound. No shit. Why is my music so loud then? Yep, they're all good. Okay. Does the game sound too loud, Henley?
Hanley just says test.
My ears laughed my ass off. Is that too loud, Henley? DTS is down. Okay. I can fix that up, right? Try again.
Hanley just says yo.
It was down a bit, then perfect. Okay, try now.
Hanley just says you yo yo yo.
Yep, perfect. Okay. Hey, I want to play. I don't want to play this. I want to play New World.
Daniel loves going fast, but can he go
Yeah, it's pretty
slow?
good.
Are your
I don't
massages
mind it.
painful?
You ever heard the phrase no pain, no gain?
I'm getting all pain, no gain. Well, I paid better, and I'll feel better.
Gotta say, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, bro. UEFI UEFI. What does UEFI stand for anyway? Yeah, New World is a good game. It's a pretty interesting game. Not a bad game at all. It's got a lot to do and mostly missions, and there are some wars and there's PvP as well, so it's all a bit of everything. Yeah, what does UEFI stand for anyway? What does it mean? Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. Ah, okay. Damn, I don't know why the music's so loud all of a sudden. Just ever since this reformat, things have gone brighter and crisper and louder. And with UEFI BIOS. Does it improve performance for your computer, does it, Henley? UEFI? Unified Extensible Firmware Interface? UEFI is a more modern solution supporting larger hard drives, faster boot times, more security features. I notice performance for games as well has improved. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, I noticed that. Stop now. It had problems catching up with it for a bit. Let me go and check the back of the cable and behind the computer box. Game PC. Let me check the HDMI cable. Give me a sec. Well, it wasn't that, so I don't know what it could have been.
Sometimes good things happen only when you give up and stop forcing them to be that way.
Corruption is most undoubtedly spreading across the turn right now.
I salute you, fellow Marauder. We will never give up the fight. And in the end, we will emerge victorious.
No, I don't want to play this one. I want to go back to Destiny 2. Or some kind of shoot 'em up game. What should I play, Haley? Can't make up my mind. Destiny. How about some COD? Sure. COD is fun, yeah. I can't play it now because I've got stuff updating. PUBG is updating. What is going on with my Elgato card? Fucking hell. How's it look and sound so far though, Henley? Can you tell if there's a difference or not? Well, apart from the music being so goddamn loud. Hey, Henry, you there, man? Should I run this setting? Hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. This setting. I don't know what it does. Do you have it running? You don't? Okay. You're back, Henry? Okay, man. Henry, yo, in Discord. I see you, buddy. I got Discord overlay happening. And you're muted. I'll be right back. I ain't no worries, bud. Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. Henley, yo, welcome back, man. You on Discord? Talk to me, bro. I want to hear what it sounds like. Can't believe I lost all my settings, bro. I don't know what happened.
Hello?
Yo, Henley. Sound croaky. Drink some water.
Oh, that's loud. Your mic's not working in Discord.
My mic's not working in Discord. What the fuck? Test, 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 test. Should be working. Test, 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 test. Test, test. Is it working? Henley? Henley. Yo.
Hold on. Yo, alright, I got it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, my headphone was unplugged.
Oh, okay. So it was working all the time.
But my headphones were just unplugged.
Yeah. Hey, if you type emojis, man, you see it like Capagen, but I'm using the Botrix bot to do that. Try the emojis. Spam some emojis.
Like the Trovo ones?
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of saying the word, it shows them now.
Yeah, did you see it? Shows on the screen. There you go.
Yep. That's actually really cool.
What's that, Henley?
It's actually really cool.
What is?
The emojis when they pop up.
Yeah. So the install was pretty quick, and adding of my games back on was pretty quick as well. And I set up my Go XLR too, so didn't have any issues with that.
Did Windows install fast?
Yeah, it did. Very quick. The boot up times on this now is amazing. Actually, there's something I gotta check. I'll be back.
Alright.
Yo, Henley. Henley?
Yo.
How can I get rid of this virtualization, man? I disable it in BIOS, it still says enable. Can you see it?
Does it say disabled in the BIOS? When you go there, it says it's off.
Yeah.
And that means it's just a glitch.
I don't think it's a glitch, man.
I mean, it has to be. It's shown in the BIOS. The BIOS is on its own RAM. It's on its own chip. It's reading from itself. It knows what it's doing. Not Windows. Windows is middleman.
Music's still recording in the street. Looks like it is. Sound in the screen. Henley, how do I sound in the stream? Test, test, test.
Let me check.
I think the music was just a bit loud. Could you hear it?
Hold up.
It's not on at the
I
moment.
have fun.
You're having fun with the emojis. Nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
Test. Test, 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 test. I'm
Mm,
gonna
sounds
turn the
good.
music on. Tell me the music's still loud.
Oh yeah, the music's really loud.
Music's what?
The music's really loud.
Yeah, but it's not distorted anymore, is it?
I mean, you can barely hear me or you over it.
Yeah, I know, but it's not distorted anymore, is it?
Yeah, no, there's no
Yeah.
distortion.
Yeah, I turned it down. OBS was peaking. I don't know why. I didn't touch the stream PC. The only thing I set was UEFI and smart boot, a secure boot. Then the TPM, the trusted platform machine, TMP or whatever it is on the stream PC, and everything seems to be so loud now. Not sure what's going on. Huh. Emojis. Send those emojis, Henley. I want to say them. Whee! 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 Hey, the only thing I noticed with this install, right, of Windows on the game PC is that the mouse timings are slightly off. Because you know how you're supposed to get that 0.5 millisecond counter? Henley?
What do you mean?
Well, it's hard to explain without showing you the app. It's called high precision event timer. Something to do with that.
Say that again.
Also. Huh?
Core. Core what?
High. It's called high precision event
High
timer.
precision.
Event timer. Hey, what's going on? Are you kidding? You're researching it, are you, Henley? High precision event timer.
I don't even understand what it does, so I don't know.
I don't know. Have it on or off?
On, I guess.
On. Okay. Yeah, I gotta reboot the stream, man.
What'd you say?
I gotta reboot the stream. I gotta reboot the stream, Henry.
Okay.